Once upon a time, there was a huge eel lying across the river. Water was blocked by the eel and started to flood over everywhere. The water level kept rising, and all the lands became sea. Even mountains were flooded by the water. People can only run to the tallest Patun Konun mountain for shelter. When people were worried about the water, a big crab came to them and said that he can help if they give them a gift he liked. People asked him what he wanted. The crab crawled over to the women sitting around the fire and looked over between their legs. The women realized the gift it wanted immediately, so they plucked out some pubic hair and gave it to the crab as a gift. The crab was satisfied and left. It then went to search for the huge eel as it promised. Upon seeing the eel, it felt a crave to hide himself first. Then it used its claws to nib the belly of the eel. The eel turned a bit, and the crab suddenly used all of its strength to pinch the belly button. The eel was terrified, turned over and struggled, only to fall to the severe pain. And the block on the river was cleared. The flood finally ended.
Hello, welcome to an episode of the Islanders podcast. My name is James.
And my name is Daniel.
And my name's Yan.
So what are we going to talk about today? I'm sure you just heard the crazy story.
Yeah.
So what is our topic today?
Today we're going to talk about mythologies, and especially the mythologies of Taiwanese Aboriginal tribes. So there are 16 Aboriginal tribes nowadays in Taiwan, and many of them have their own mythologies and traditional stories. So the stories you've heard before the intro was one of their like traditional mythologies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as you've heard, the plot there is pretty crazy. So wow. How did you feel when you first hear me tell this story?
So what's the hidden meaning of the pubic hair?
Yeah, pubic hair. I don't know.
I haven't seen this story before, and I must say that I'm in shock right now at the moment because it's such a crazy story. Like at first I thought like the eel and then the flood was quite normal, and then the pubic hair suddenly came out into the picture, and I was scared, quite honestly.
So why did the big crab want the pubic hair?
No,
well, we will never know. That is not the point of the story. Okay, is it? We should not dwell on that. Okay, the only problem is. And why this story? Why do we have to learn about this story? And what does it mean, actually?
Yeah, I believe maybe at first, the mythology, the story itself was like there's some flood came and they tried to ran away from the flood. They came to the mountain, I've told. But yeah, they just add some other elements inside there.
Yeah,
so it's become a crazy story.
Like they were like praying for good luck. Maybe somebody helped them with the typhoon or something, with the flood or something.
Yeah. Maybe some god or like some spirits in the mountain or something.
Yeah, my pubic hair really threw me off. And so there are a lot more crazier stories than this. And so today we're going to share a lot of these stories, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Is there any other mythologies like these kind of crazy stories you've heard about? Not only about Taiwanese Aboriginals, maybe in other cultures you've heard about.
Actually, recently on Reddit, I saw a post about bears.
Bears. Yeah.
So, what do you know about bears?
Yeah, bears.
They're huge creatures.
Yeah,
scary creatures.
Yeah, I think for Taiwanese people, they're like dangerous wild animals.
Yeah. So. Actually, the word bear actually does not mean the animal directly. Okay, so the bear, if we look at its etymology of the word, it actually means the brown one.
The brown one.
The brown one, because they were scared to call its name, the name of the animal, bear, because they were scared that it would summon the bear.
So what is its original name?
Its origin, I don't know its original name. Yeah, there is a Greek word for it, but it's very difficult to pronounce.
Okay.
And also, people say that word might also just mean destroyer.
They bring like bad luck or something.
Yeah, it just mean destroyer. Okay. So like we don't know the original name of the bear.
Yeah.
And in some cultures, they call it the honey eater.
Honey eater.
The honey eater, yeah.
The honey
Quite
eater
cute.
sounds cute.
Like sounds like Winnie the Pooh, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
So yeah, so that was a quite cool story.
But
A little bit like Voldemort, if you've watched Harry Potter
Harry
before.
Potter.
Like people were scared of
The wand or something. They call
talking
them-
about it,
Yeah,
the things that they were scared of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in traditional culture, or like ancient people, they somewhat believe in there's some magic power in words and in the sayings, right? So if you call someone, and especially in names.
Yeah.
So I think I read a series of fantasy novels that I think is Earthsea series or something. They believe that there are some kind of power in names. So I think the main goal of the characters in that story is they're trying to find their true name of themselves, so they can gain much more powerful magic power of themselves.
Yeah. So
that's very
definitely,
cool.
I read a lot of like
Yeah.
the fantasy novels. Like they were based on in like prehistoric times.
Yeah.
When the humans were just humans. Like maybe
Yes.
like a long time ago in the prehistoric ages, in the ice ages.
Yeah.
So they were very afraid to call the animals by their names.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the animals had like a token or like some other different nickname.
Yeah.
Just to protect them from the spirits, the evil spirits of Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah.
So that is
yeah.
sort of like the same thing
Same
with
thing,
what
yeah.
we're talking about.
But eventually, bear becomes bear.
Yeah, became the meaning of
Eventually,
Yeah.
we learn how to use fire, and we overcame
right.
like these
Yeah,
animals,
yeah.
and so we can call them now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
bears, tigers. I'm scared of nothing.
Yeah.
But it's no longer the original name of
Yeah, it's,
bear.
Yeah, it's the brown one.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
that
brown
wild Mother Nature is actually dangerous and cruel.
Yeah.
To I think ancient human. The people are just afraid of something that can hurt them.
Yeah. So actually, a lot of the stories that in Taiwan also, or in like a lot of stories, they talk about Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And how human is scared of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Or like very respectful of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of stories, like your story is talking about the flood. Because here in Taiwan, we have a lot of like typhoons, and on the mountains it's very easy to flood.
Yeah.
So they would often have maybe festivals to pray to the Mother Nature.
Yes.
To relieve the floods, right?
Yeah. I think like some beliefs or like religions kind of started from these kind of small bits of stories. They aggregate into like bigger part of the culture and become one of their beliefs. Right.
So like respecting like animal spirits, or like the spirits of Mother Nature is a common theme across all the tribes, all the different tribes of Taiwanese Aboriginals, right?
I believe that also the same in different part of the world. Yeah, maybe like in
North American culture,
culture.
yeah, definitely. They have like also respect to animals,
Yeah.
and to Mother Nature. Yeah.
Okay, so beside of these kind of stories, it is quite interesting, their plot, their stories. But I think there might be some like functions or like why did they made these kind of stories. I think they should have some meanings, or they want to tell their descendants, or like they want to pass on different knowledges to them. So do you think, is there any like examples you've heard about that pass on kind of knowledge to their offsprings, right?
I'd assume that the story you just told is to try to memorize the origin of the tribe. So why did they came to the mountain?
Okay.
So they try to memorize this origin. Yes.
Okay, so they kind of use these stories to tell their offsprings that they came to the mountain because of the flood, and those events happened throughout the stories.
Battle between the two monsters.
Maybe that's part of it. And I think some stories there are actually, I think it's a carrier of their knowledge. So another stories also from the same tribe, the Zhou tribe from Taiwanese Aboriginal here, I want to share with you, is a story about leather making.
Leather making.
Okay, so
it's very practical.
yeah, very practical. Yeah, so let's just
Like making wallet or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so just hear about this story here. Okay, so there was a spring around the village of Lanunyang Suana village. It was a name of one of the Zhou tribe. So each evening there would be a buck by the stream and drinking water. And the buck seemed like the leader of animals, so all animals have to wait for the buck to finish drinking so they can go to sip some water. from the spring. It's just like
The
Lion
buck
King.
is the male deer.
Yeah.
The one with horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like some Lion King theme, right?
Yeah.
So the elders of the tribe, they always warn their people that they should never try to hunt the buck because they think the buck was the
king of the forest, right?
Yeah. However, there are some youngsters that they're two brothers. They were hunters and they were so excited about the hunting skills they have, and they left the warning behind. So they want to try to hunt the buck. They waited beside the spring for the buck to come, and that evening the buck came as well. They raised up their bow and preparing to take the shot, only to find the buck grow to 3 or 4 times of its original size. It's just expanded its size. The hunters were panicked and shot their arrows. The huge buck was hurt, howling and sprinting back into the forest. They followed its bloodshed to track it down, and they found it staying under a larger tree, chewing some ivy leaves, trying to heal its wound by the arrows. So the hunters were so terrified to find that it was actually a buck monster, one of the greatest spirits of the mountain. That it has its own conscience and it knows how to heal himself. So they want to leave. So they attempt to leave quietly. However, they were spotted by the buck monster. The buck grabbed one of the older brother and hung him over on the tree. It then rubbing him on the trunk and told the younger one of the brothers, it just keep rubbing and say, "This is how you should treat the skin of animals to make leather." So that was how Zhou people learned how to make leather from animal skins.
What?
Okay. Interesting.
What?
Took a weird turn right there.
Yeah, I've never thought of the plot would be.
Yeah, I thought it was just hunting the animal, and then the tribe was cursed or something.
Yeah. And you have to afraid of the Mother Nature.
Yeah, but then he became a teacher, suddenly, and told him how to make leather. Wow, that is very cool.
That's very cool.
It's really a generous buck.
Yeah. And also the tribe of Zhou in all Taiwanese Aboriginal is famous of its leather making skills.
No, I feel like the elders of the village are just, on some weird kind of, maybe some kind of plans at that time, and just made up the story to teach their children, right?
I think it's some storytelling to the younger children, maybe small kids. They want to make them believe that we're good at this, and just to tell them some morals, teach them some morals or something.
Maybe like a story, like a moral story from the elders. Trying to tell the kids a weird story or a crazy story.
Yeah,
that may also be possible.
Because this story is so crazy and so funny, so they use this plot to attract young people to learn this skill.
Okay, so the story,
probably,
the plot itself is trying to make people interested about what's going to happen.
Yes.
But the important stuff, the knowledge stuff, was
also put into
this. Yeah,
so the elders are quite smart making up these stories.
Yeah.
Now maybe these stories might be true. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely a cool story. Yeah, definitely one that you would tell your kids, and then your kids will tell their kids. And so I think that has the purpose of getting the knowledge across, right?
Yeah, and I think they don't have writings, or they don't have alphabets, right? So it's hard for them to.
It's colloquial.
Yeah,
people talk to each other and then talk to their kids. They are spread this way, right?
So kind of record their knowledge inside these kind of stories to pass on to the next generation. Yeah. So have you heard about the Nian monster in Chinese culture? Every year we have to Chinese people have to 过年. So there's a story about Nian monster, right?
Yes.
So when I was grown up, I found that the Nian monster story is actually a moral story to ask kids to be well on the holiday, and to follow the instruction of your parents or something. I think lots of stories work that way, to try to make kids believe in what people are telling.
It's
different cultures have different ways to trick kids, right?
Yeah.
So in Taiwan, we have the Nian monster is to tell kids to behave.
Yeah.
And in America, they have Santa Claus.
Yeah,
it's also tell kids to behave, but in a more positive way, right?
So you can get gifts from the Santa Claus.
Yeah, so I want to tell you one about in Germany.
Okay.
So they have one scary Santa Claus each year. He comes at Christmas.
Yeah.
And his name is Krampus.
Krampus?
Krampus. So he has horns. He has goat horns. And he's a monster. And he will eat the kids if you don't behave on Christmas.
Wow.
So it's very different from American to German. So that is a scary version of Santa Claus. Eating kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So actually, my favorite Chinese monster is Tao Tie. Okay.
Tao Tie.
So Tao Tie is I think it's a big dog.
Yeah.
And he can eat everything.
Even a song.
So he's very, very, he's always hungry all the time.
Yeah.
And then he eats everything.
Yeah.
And
it's so greedy.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite Chinese monsters.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think Chinese culture, I think there's a book called 山海经.
Yes.
It's the book of mountain and sea that collects every kind of monster, legend, stories inside it. And I think it's quite cool to find there's some paintings on it, some illustrations and text recordings on it. So it's cool to read that book.
Like a bird with a human head.
Yeah.
Or the enormous bird, like it's about maybe 1 kilometer long.
Yeah, and all these kind of monsters are quite strange, but interesting, attractive, I would say. To know about their nature or something. Yeah. So there's another Taiwanese Aboriginal stuff I want to share with you guys. So it's not about stories, but it's about culture of one of the tribes called Dawu tribes. And Dawu tribes lives on an island called Lanyu. It's in the southeastern part
it's a small
of Taiwan.
Island out of Taiwan.
Yeah.
And then these people, they make their own canoes, right?
Yeah.
They're very special.
Cool.
So the male members of this tribe, they wear like thongs, during the fishing season.
Yeah.
And then they go to like diapers, like white diapers, and then like their cloth just folded around their groin area, and then they take these canoes, beautiful canoes that they make themselves and paint themselves. And then they go fishing, flying fishing, right?
Yeah, flying fish.
So they go catch flying fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So that is the Dao people.
Yeah.
And so you have some stories you want to tell about them.
Yeah. So in their culture, their interesting part is that there's a concept called emotional landscape that was discovered by some anthropologists, scholars that they try to dig into their cultures, their knowledge. So what is emotional landscape? It's that there are some places on the island that were actually connected to some like feelings or memories of their own clan or tribes, the aggregational memories to themselves. So there's some examples I want to share with you guys. So there's a place called Dompinasikanigeyan. This place is a place of love stories, or trying to make people meet together. So
they associate different feelings or different situations to different places in their island, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's another place called Jimakapala, is a place that will cough.
That will make you cough.
So, like in their culture, they will, if they're passed through, maybe they're not going there, but if they're passed through this area, they will cough. So
that's weird.
Yeah, this affect their like daily life behavior. Yeah, in such a spatial way, I would say. Yeah. So there's another cool example here is there are two places called Do Pia Pia Lang and Do Malahet Lang. It's the name of a better rock and a bad rock. So they kind of attach meanings to those places. So this rock is better, and this rock is bad. So and they're just feelings. So I will feel that rock was better and that rock was bad. So it's no matter what the circumstances it fit into, you just feel this rock is better. So when Dao people, they're arguing with each other, I think you're the bad one. They will refer to you as the bad rock.
It's really subjective.
Yeah. So because it is
use
subjective.
location as an adjective for people.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And this other kind of descriptions.
That's quite special for us to understand. It's quite different, right?
Yeah. And also there are some places are related to their like traditional mythologies or legends, or like some kind of witchcraft, So there's a place called Domakaso Mosoaji Taiwan. Is that this place, when you touch on the rocks, stones, or any other nature things here, the weather will change. Yeah. So if they wanted some, like they want the weather become better, they will go there to have a celebration or praying to the Mother Nature to having the weather change. So the locations actually affect their daily life in a very special, a very cool way. Yeah. So there are also some places are attached to the stories they have. One of them is a place called Doseb Jitewan. The story is that there's a big bird. It takes a pig on its claws
talons,
and want to feed its children. And there are two Dao people follows this bird to go to a very far away place, and the birds finally just let go of the pig to give to these two Dao people. So the story is just like this. It's not a very special story or a very cool story or somewhat.
So they also associate stories with the locations, right?
But this story just associates with that location.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they think about it, you want to take a thing to a faraway place, they will associate to this story and then associate to this location. So it's like
it's a very cool approach to memory, right?
Yeah,
memory and memory's relation to location, which we rarely have this kind of things, right?
Yeah, and they also like make me think about another question: is that if they leave the island of Lanyu, how can they like comprehend all the other things they meet in the new area they found? So I also know that there's some emotional landscape around the sea. So because they live on the island,
different parts of the sea, and like where they catch fish or something like that. Yeah. So they're very like marine. They're very kind of marine tribe.
Yeah.
So they live by the sea and live with the sea.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think about this kind of culture?
It's really unique. Even though in our society, we may give some locations some meanings. Yeah. Like if you are trying to break up with your girlfriend, you can bring her to the big Buddha in Zhanghua, because rumor has it that place can break the relationship between a couple.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is, I think, like unlucky places, which is somewhat different to what this is trying to say.
Yeah.
I think it's quite different.
But it's not very emotional, I would say.
It's kind of a belief or like...
It's just a superstition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But for this, it's basically based on their stories of their ancestors and of their memory.
Yeah.
Of their collective memory.
Yeah,
and I think that is very, very interesting. And in our current society, we have less of this like collective memory.
Yeah.
And I think our like people, the relationship between people and people are much less strong, much less strong compared to them.
Yeah. Because they're another reason because they only live on the island, right? So maybe their clans, their families,
maybe
are all
everybody
there.
is related.
So
in our current culture, it's something to behold. It's quite special. Yeah.
So is there any other like Aboriginal stories you've heard about, or you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, the most common story I heard before is like the original of the tribe. Normally, the ancestor of the tribe will follow some animal to some specific place.
Yeah.
And the ancestor found this place really ideal. It has water, it has a shelter, and has some animal to hunt.
A good land for them to plant plants.
I think it's
like
from
agriculture.
From the Tao tribe, I think they live in a lake in middle of Taiwan, and I think they have this legend that how do they found the lake, right?
Yes,
so they will follow specific animals like
like a leopard
or like snakes. Some tribes in Taiwan they worship snakes. A poison snake. A toxic snake. Yeah. And so that is, I think I would like to learn more about this kind of culture.
Yeah.
And so maybe next time we will share more stories with you.
Okay.
And we want to know if you have any like local Aboriginal stories or like stories that your parents or grandparents told you, but you've never never realized why they want to tell this story.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share those with us, and we will love to hear your stories. And so we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.